Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Slat here if we haven't met before, and if you saw my previous video about how to set your goals in 2022, you know that I have set a weight loss goal for myself to lose 1 pound per week for the next 4 weeks. In this video, I will show you the exact tweaks that I am making to my diet for weight loss so that you can apply these same simple changes to your own life and achieve your personal weight loss goals. First, let's take a look at the fundamentals of weight loss. What does it take for your body to lose weight? And the answer is you need to be in a calorie deficit. What a calorie deficit is, it means that you are consuming less calories than you're burning, so your body dips into your fat stores in order to get that extra energy, which leads to weight loss. When you are setting your weight loss goal, you want to aim for something that is sustainable and where you're not going to be too miserable while cutting food. So a recommended range is somewhere between 0.7 to 1% of your current body weight. For example, in my case, I am starting at 136.6 pounds and I will be aiming to lose 1 pound per week. Now, 1 pound is actually equivalent to 3,500 calories. So in order for me to lose 1 pound per week, I need to be in a calorie deficit of 3,500 calories per week. And that equates to about 500 calories per day. Now, how do you achieve this deficit? How do you know exactly how many calories you need to eat in order to be in a 500 calorie deficit per day? There are a lot of calculators online that you can use to kind of estimate your maintenance calories and how much calories it takes for you to maintain your current weight, and then kind of subtract the calorie deficit you're aiming for from that number. Or another very simple formula where you can start is to simply multiply your current body weight in pounds by 13. So for example, in my case, if I multiply 136.6 pounds by 13, that gives me on average 1,700 calories. So that is where I'll be starting in my first week. Now that you know how many calories you need to be eating per day, the next step is to figure out how you will be tracking your nutrition in order to make sure you're meeting that goal. And the simplest way I have found is to download a calorie tracking app like MyFitnessPal. I think MyFitnessPal is probably the most widely spread app that people use, and it has a very good database where you can find all the foods and the corresponding calories. Now that we have covered the fundamentals of weight loss, I also mentioned that you might need to adjust your calorie intake from week to week to see progress. To do that, you actually need to be tracking your progress in order to know what to adjust. And to track your progress, I would recommend 2 ways. One is weighing in at the same time every morning, because your weight is going to fluctuate daily, so we want to get the most accurate measurement, and then averaging those measurements out throughout the week and comparing it from week to week. For example, in my case, I have my measurements here. I started at 136.6 pounds. I did hit a low of 135 pounds. However, my weight did go up and is currently at 135.8 pounds. So I wouldn't be too worried about these kind of fluctuations. That is normal because you might be retaining water, maybe you're sore from going to the gym. There's a lot of factors, your sleep, your diet, your last meal, all that can influence your current weight. So that is why we want to average it out at the end of the week. The other way to track your progress is to take progress photos or videos, and I also did that every Monday so that I can see my progression. You won't see a huge change in the first maybe week or 2, but then when you compare it over the course of the month, it will be very motivating to look back on your initial progress photo and compare it to your final one. Another thing that I would recommend is to always take your progress photos at the same location with the same lighting, because lighting can really affect the way you look in a photo. The next topic I would like to talk about are macronutrients, and those are the nutrients that you need in larger quantities and that give you energy. We are talking about carbs, fats, and protein here, and I wouldn't worry about macronutrients too much, but you do want to make sure you're not deficient in one of those categories. So for example, in terms of protein, in my case, I would be trying to eat anywhere from 100 to 140 grams of protein. So the recommended range is anywhere from 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. For my fats, I'm going to be looking to eat anywhere from 30 to 60 grams per day, and the recommended quantity is 0.5 to 1 gram per kilo of body weight. And then for my carbs, I'm not going to pay attention to them necessarily. I'm just going to top it up with the remainder of my calories. And now for the most interesting and fun part of this video, the food. Alright, so I'm going to show you some meal ideas that you can have while being in a calorie deficit. I'm also going to share some of my personal tips and tricks that I apply to my diet to make sure that it is sustainable for me and that I don't feel hungry. So here's an example of one of my full days of eating so that you can get an idea of what it looks like at my current goals. So for breakfast, I had 2 eggs on English muffin, and I added some vegetables. I added spinach and cucumber for some volume to this meal. For my snacks, I had 2 pieces of homemade banana bread, and you can find my recipe on my YouTube channel. This is a rather lower calorie and high protein recipe. Another snack that I had was a rice cake with peanut butter and an apple. I love peanut butter even if it is higher calorie. I like to keep it in my diet, and it's one of my main sources of fats. For my lunch, I had a beef sauté with noodles. I love noodles because they're so simple to prepare. You add hot water to them and they're ready in no time. I also added soybeans to this recipe for extra protein. For dinner, I opted for something a little bit higher in protein. Shrimps are a great source of protein, and they're also very low in calories. They make an excellent salad, and this meal was very high volume, low calorie, perfect to keep me full at the end of the night. I hope you enjoyed these ideas. Let me know down below in the comment section if you like to see more full days of eating. Tip number 1 is to treat yourself. So you want to make sure that your diet is sustainable, so you don't want to cut out any foods from it that you love, because at the end, if you give up at week 2, there's no point in doing this. You want to stick around and complete your goals. So to do that, I allow myself, for example, cookies, chocolate from time to time. The key to that is just to do it in moderation, and so that it fits with your calorie goals and your macronutrient goals. So there's nothing wrong about having a cookie here and there if that makes you happy and helps you stick to your diet. My tip number 2 is to make sure you're consuming enough vegetables. And the good thing about vegetables is that they're very low in calories, so you can have large quantities of vegetables that will leave you feeling full and help you stick to your calorie deficit. So you've probably seen a lot of those videos where you compare portions. So one portion is very tiny but has more calories than the other one, and the other one is a huge portion but has less calories. So that is something that I want to bring your attention to. It is not because you're eating a small quantity of food that it has less calories. Your portion size is not directly proportionate to the calories you're having. So by adding vegetables to your diet, you're going to be able to increase your portion size without increasing the calories. Third tip is swap certain foods for lower calorie options, and that's going to help you lower your amount of calories without you even realizing it, and you can even achieve your calorie deficit effortlessly. For example, instead of having your peanut butter toast, have a peanut butter rice cake. Maybe instead of having peanut butter, have PB2, which is higher in protein, lower in calories. Instead of having a higher fat meat, maybe substitute that for a leaner option like chicken breast. So these are the kind of food swaps that I'm talking about that can really help you lose weight effortlessly without you even realizing it, because you'll be eating the same amount of food, but you'll be eating less calories. My fourth tip is make smart choices when you're eating out. And that's super important, because if you are eating well throughout the week and then cheating on the weekends and having larger meals, that will add up and you won't see any progress in your goals. So one thing to keep in mind is that when you go to restaurants, they're not trying to keep foods low calorie. They're cooking with a lot of butter, with a lot of tasty things, and that is okay. But anytime you go, you need to keep in mind that the food that you're seeing, maybe you can estimate it to be a certain amount of calories. It's probably 20 to 30% extra calories in there that you don't see. So I would say if you're ordering something at a restaurant, always keep in mind that it's probably higher calorie than you think. My next tip, and I can't stress this enough, is to have frequent meals. So have your meals 4 to 5 times a day. That is going to help you stay full longer and not feel really hungry and then kind of binge and eat more than you're supposed to. So if you're having 4 to 5 smaller meals, you're just gonna feel like your hunger levels are sort of constant. That really helps me. It's probably my most important tip that I could share. It's what really works well for me. Tip number 6 is avoid drinking your calories. That is very important. There's a lot of, it doesn't mean that you have to just drink water. There's a lot of drinks that have lower calories that you can swap the drinks you're having currently for. Yes, you can swap Coca-Cola for 0 calorie Coca-Cola. You can maybe have Gatorade 0 calories. You can have BCAAs to add taste to your water. There are some flavored drops that you can buy at the grocery stores to flavor your water as well, so it tastes more like juice. But just be conscious of the calories that are in drinks. And obviously in terms of alcohol, you can still have alcohol, but if you're at a lower amount of calories, you're kind of sacrificing macronutrients for alcohol. So just make sure you're not deficient in any of your macronutrients if you opt for 1 or 2 drinks a week. It has been a pleasure chatting with you today. If you're looking for low-calorie recipes, go ahead and check out some of my other videos on my YouTube channel. I will also make a video about my training and exercise in the next week, so stay tuned for that. And if you have any questions, let me know down below in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.